Today I'm going to be talking about three different types of learning theories, and the first one's constructivism, the second one would be cognitive load theory, and the last one is multimedia theory. So the first one, constructivism, this theory works under the assumption that people do not learn things from scratch. When you have a new idea, you see how it relates to something you already have in your brain, and it becomes a bigger framework. People actively construct or create their own subjective representations of objective reality. New information is linked to prior knowledge, thus mental representations are subjective. Knowledge is constructed based on personal experiences and hypotheses of the environment. Each person has a different interpretation and construction of knowledge processes. The learner is not a blank slate, but brings past experiences and cultural factors to a situation. This theory assumes that all knowledge is constructed from someone's past knowledge, regardless of how they are taught. The next theory, cognitive load theory, is about teaching while taking the human cognitive architecture into consideration. There are ways to utilize long-term memory storage and reduce the cognitive load. This allows for more space in the working memory, which eases learning. There are schemas held in long-term memory that directly affect the way information is synthesized in working memory. In the absence of schemas, instructional guidance should be a substitute for learners to develop their own schemas. There are three types of cognitive load: extraneous, intrinsic, and germane. Intrinsic is the idea that all instruction has an inherent difficulty associated with it. Extraneous is generated by the manner in which information is presented to learners. And germane is the load dedicated to the processing, construction, and automation of schemas. The next theory, the cognitive theory of multimedia learning, is based on three main assumptions. There are two separate channels, auditory and visual, for processing information. There is limited channel capacity, and that learning is an active process of filtering, selecting, organizing, and integrating information. There are three memory stores: sensory, which receives stimuli and stores it for a very short time; working, where we actively process information to create mental constructs, or schema; and long-term, the repository of all things learned. The brain does not interpret a multimedia presentation of words, pictures, and auditory information in a mutually exclusive fashion. Rather, these elements are selected and organized dynamically to produce logical mental constructs. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned more about these three theories.